So my next guest is one of like the coolest, most awesome guests I have ever had. You guys need to watch this one. He is so in deep with celebrity and sports and esports culture, and he's just dropping knowledge on us in this one. Like I like just finished and I'm wrapping up. I'm like, I have to say something. So check this one out. Hey there, everybody. Welcome back to the Gamerpreneur podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Bradford Carlton. Today, I have a very special guest with us. I have Egypt Brown. Hey there, Egypt. How's it going?
It's going real well.
Fantastic. So where are you out of today?
I'm out of Anaheim, California. Normally, I live in Vegas, fans and brethren and sisters. But today, I'm in some very nice weather, Orange County. You see the palm trees. That's how we're doing it today.
Beautiful, beautiful. Well, like I think when we mentioned before when we were on the phone, we'll have to meet up sometime because I'm on the east side of town at the moment.
Absolutely. I look forward to it.
Right on. Okay, so Egypt, why don't you begin? Just tell us a little bit about yourself, please.
Yes. So myself, Egypt, I don't like to call myself a jack of all trades, master of none. I've learned to master many things. Video games is one of my passions, but I also have background in music. I play several instruments. I'm a music producer. I score and compose. I also am an athlete, and I advise many of the top athletes in the world. I've worked with every environment from NFL, NBA, MMA, boxing at the highest levels, rugby, I mean, you name it. Anything athletic, I've had my hands on. What I've been doing for the last few years is I created a business because I saw some needs in both the environment that we were in and me being an entertainer and also having many friends in these environments. I saw a lot of need for them to be able to monetize the engagement between themselves and the fans. Then I also saw with the fans, they were lacking opportunities to be able to connect with these individuals or even myself. And so I looked at solutions for that, but I also, it was actually really crazy. I received a dream in the middle of the night. I was doing very well at the time. Nothing really major was going on. I was working with all the who's and what's. And, you know, things were moving along, and I had a dream, and a voice spoke to me and told me that I needed to change the way I was doing business and make my business to serve the needs of others instead of just having my business just be the lead and trying to draw that interest that way. And the next morning I woke up, deleted my social media, deleted the logos I was doing, and I literally started fresh. And that's where 100 Entertainment and 100 Media Group, that's how it really came together. Is I said, how can we create a company, number one, that represents completion, but also unity? So what 100 Entertainment or 100, it was 100 deep, but we've changed it and amended it into 100 Entertainment. It's 100 individuals or the number of completion coming together to create one big machine. And so all the sectors as a conglomerate we want to touch, the financial sectors, the entertainment sectors, the music sectors. I mean, there's also our health sectors. There's so many different sectors. All these things connect because our universe connects, and we connect to everything together. And one bottom line that all of us can unite in is competition, and that's where our esports and our the direction we have and going forward is that everyone can compete no matter who they are, where they are, and what their background is. And that's how we've done a lot of our events. We've been the first, and I hate to say the word I, even though, yes, I'm the founder, but I like to say we because it does require a we. It requires a team. But the company in its first year, we were able to do events, with, the Cowboys stadium, AT&T Stadium, and Mark Cuban's arena in Dallas, and so many casinos that we were able to execute, being new. And this required all my dollar. My investment. No investors, no sponsors, no family support, no friends throwing money in the pot. I took the chance, I took the risk, and I took it on the chin if anything failed. And because of me learning to grow as a leader, and I'm still learning every day, I think that is what's actually helped transform what was a passion or a hobby into an actual business platform for others to feed into. And now we've gone even past the domestic levels. We have international entities that are from abroad that are seeing the impact, and yet there's a lot of things on our target list, coming up now and in the future. We know that it's going to require a maximum effort from a very, very good team, but there's so many different revenue streams. And when I was talking with you the first time, when I was listening to how you were able to put things down and move to the next thing, and put that down and move, that's really a very good representative of myself. I actually went in the process when I was, even before I started, I kind of went backwards where other people would say that's backwards, but it actually took me forward so many steps. As I went back, I have a technical background. I guess I hate the word they, right? But the typical, they don't usually, I guess in their mind, put people of my descent in the world of IT or technology, or just having back end, front end, platform knowledge, machine learning, etc. So I said, I have this background. I've done, I've consulted Google and consulted, Wells Fargo, some of these big companies on their technology. I said, let's go to the heart. So I went to Take-Two Interactive, and I went to, Rockstar Games, and some of these other companies, well, EA Sports, and I did contracts with them to help them develop these games. So I can see from end to end, how does a game come to life? I'm actually a ranked gamer in the world. I'm one of the top. Well, I'm actually number one on the leaderboards in 2K, because I don't like number two. Sorry, it's just my way of life. That's what makes me a gamer, is I'm extremely competitive. And so I said, there's things about these games that I myself as a gamer, I realize. I play several different games though. I try more and more to, branch out, in the communities, meet new people, try new games. And it's led me to a lot of cool people. And what I found is the organized competition is not what I want to bring. What I want to bring, I want to organize it in a way to where people feel like they're achieving, they're making milestones, because you have two different classes of people, in my opinion, of gamers. You have the gamers who just want to play at home, kick back and relax, shoot around on Call of Duty or whatnot for 30 minutes, 45 minutes, maybe an hour, and then they call it a night and they're a gamer. But then you have the other guys like myself that we play to be number one. We play to be the best. And we don't want to mix with the guy who, I just want to have fun. Maybe that's not the right, engagement. And so I want to create what I've seen even before. I've seen guys create sim leagues, and I've seen some very smart guys come together. But I want to take things to a whole new level because of my access of live sports. And I want to say this too, Bradford, because when you were talking about marketing and the strategies, and even the name of this podcast, Gamerpreneur, I said, wow, that right there is a person I want to talk to, because he understands what I'm going through before I even talk to him. How do you market a hobby?
Well, it's not always a hobby is the thing, right?
Well, exactly. See, so that word is a touch point with us. It's a nerve, because for me, it's a business. It's a way of life. It's a way. When I'm having a stressful day, I can shut on my Xbox, and that's where I can be me. And it's also, I feel like for a lot of gamers, it's a chance for them to get away from all this, nonsense we have going around us at times. And we can just kind of, we are still socializing. So we're socializing. Maybe I socialize with thousands of gamers around the world on a daily basis, positive or negative. And I think that part is helpful. You know, when people are seeing the real, you know, instead of all the politically correct things that's going on, people are safe. Of course, you know, you want to limit, you know, the hate and the you know, the non-tolerance of individuals, and we have some bad spots in our gaming world to work on and address. But all in all, I see a whole vision, a whole picture. Instead of just seeing the console and just seeing the controller, I see a world now, and we're actually going to take live sports head on with esports, and that's with our boxing presentations. So there's no boxing product right now. They were tickets, and now with no live events, that product doesn't exist. So without a game, a tangible product, which is what I mentioned so many times to every promoter you can think of, and all the geniuses of, you know, this industry. Every fighter, every participant, even the people that are fans, of course, want this product, and that's a video game in the sport of boxing. And so, one thing that I have to deal with is the fact that I have an inside track with any fighter, any of these promoters, to even go above them. But this is what they told me, and this is the crazy thing. These boxing promoters, they said, how are we going to get these guys to fight? They said, if these guys make even some of what we think they can make off this, we see it. How can we ever get them to fight again? So then that raises the question to me. Do they really care about these guys? Of course they don't. Do they really care about the fan? Of course they don't. Do they really care about entertainment? Of course they don't. So they have a bottom line, and if they don't meet their bottom line, then we don't get what they hold it hostage for us. And so I found a way to free these guys, to free these fighters, and free them from all the handlers and all the naysayers and people that get in the way. So we've kicked them out, and now we're going to host boxing on our side, because and not just boxing, MMA. We're going to bring boxing, MMA, the whole world of live sports and esports is going to merge together with us. And the way we're going to do that is through our visuals. There's some secrets I'm going to show you after this, Bradford. Like, I can give you some walkthroughs. Any fans that's going to see this later, because this is probably $1 million or more than that call, because I'm not here in Orange County for no reason. So what's going on is you mentioned, we were talking or discussing our health situation, the shutdowns, etc. right now, why people are at home. I received my own shutdown from some boxing promoters on a tournament I was organizing. Once again, because I've done these many different times, and I even hosted one in April. We were preparing for a major tournament, but I get a call. These guys say, we want to throw you all this money, but you just got to keep it with us only, right? Don't let these other business entities get in on it. Let's just do this well ourselves. Well, you heard of Duran?
Yeah, sure.
Well, they played the song called Delay, Delay, Delay. Because their whole purpose was to delay me in what I was doing so that they could reposition themselves to put real boxing on when this COVID shutdown ended, you see? So they didn't prepare for a second wave and for this situation, and so now they look even worse than before.
For sure. Hey, Egypt, your story is absolutely incredible, and at some point I want to be able to ask you some questions about what you're doing, like where you come from.
Please.
So let me start, like my typical, I start every interview question with this one, okay? So you're going to get just like everybody else, and it's kind of a funny question, right? But on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being high, how weird do you consider yourself?
Oh, put me at 10. 10 is the highest? Yeah, put me at 11 or 12. Oh, I was born to be different. I knew I was different from day one. I never liked the word they said or they this. like they have connotations where they see that word they, people refer to one of us. Maybe they say there's a movie that says white man can't jump, right? But I
Right.
actually know. You see where I'm going? So I know some guys that's actually white that can jump 50 inches off the floor. You know what I'm saying? They have a 50-inch vert. So what about that white guy? You see? So that means that he didn't
Paralyzing
listen.
people. It's not worth it.
Yeah. You see, he didn't listen when they said white man can't jump. Just like when they say, what is that's a so-called white man or so-called black man to me. I don't get into the terms and all that. But to answer your question, I'm as weird as they come, and I'm proud.
Right on. I love it. Okay, so you're number one, you say, on the rankings for 2K. I love it. Right on. I'm sure
Yep.
it was a grind to get there, but I want to go
Not
back
really.
even further in time.
It was
Like,
easy.
when did you first start playing video games? Like,
Whoo! Day
2
one.
years old, 1 year old?
Well, okay. You mentioned the game. You said Mike Tyson's Punch Out. That's why when you were talking, I said, "Oh, this is my guy." Yeah, Mac. Yeah, and they had the Sandman. I mean, of course, you got to get all the way to Iron Mike, and I beat him myself. So when you said that, I said, "Oh no, it's definitely possible to beat Mike." Now, it of course did I do it on my first couple. I think the first time I remember losing because I remember knocking him down, and I was hyped. I was like, "Oh yeah," knocked him out, and then he got back up and went crazy.
Oh, he gets up like 4 or 5 times.
Yeah. So it was like, wait a minute. Yeah, you can't just knock down Mike one good time or no good time, and he's just not going to keep coming back. You got to really put in work. But yeah, I mean, that's one of the games, Mario Brothers, the typical games. But also, some of my favorite games coming up, honestly, was sports games. Like we had NBA Live. Was a big one. There were some games before that. NBA Jam obviously was dope. I really liked a lot of the boxing games. So, I was always Knockout Kings, but even before that, you had Real Deal Boxing and, different ones.
Hey, I love Fight Night.
Oh, yeah, Fight Nights. Like, and what's crazy is most of my friends are on that game. So that's another thing we do is we actually bring that game to life. It's funny you mentioned that. That's events that I do. I've done several of them where I've had a lot of fighters. I mean, you'd be surprised at the list. A lot of legends, a lot of champions, a lot of Hall of Famers. They come together, and if they're on the game, it makes it better. Where they actually get to come and meet the fighter, but play against them as themselves.
Very cool. Okay, now Egypt, like,
yes,
I'm certain people listening to this are like, this dude, like, how on earth is he doing what he's doing? So can you walk me back and like, where did you come from? Like, obviously you were rolling with the big boys at the start. Like, how did this happen?
Oh man, great question. Well, honestly, I'll say this: I had a little bit of a head start. I have some aunts, some ladies in my family that did some amazing things in the world of sports. And so, as a kid, I'm originally from the Bay Area, so that's a big one. The Niners, I was a huge Niners fan, and so my aunt was actually on the board with like Jerry Rice, Joe Montana. She lived in their neighborhood even, and so I would go to Los Altos Hills. These guys are in Atherton, by Stanford
I
University.
grew up in Pleasanton. I know what you're talking about.
Oh yeah, and so I'm out there, and I have one side where I grew up in the streets, grew up tough, but then the other side of my family was like whoa, and so yeah, I got both worlds. So I would go there for the summers or even some parts of the year, and Willie Mays, all these guys lived in the neighborhood, and so I learned honestly just a lot of these people will come to the house. I mean, it'd be the general manager of the Packers. I'm like, what the heck? You know what I mean? And they're just coming to their house. But I learned how to deal with people at certain levels, certain people in the industry from an early age. And I think that really helped. Like I lost my starstruckness once I met Jerry Rice and Deion Sanders. once I met them, I seen Joe Montana wasn't that big. I said, Steve Young is a little guy. I said, what is this? You know? I said, these guys look huge on TV, you know? And
what's the trick? Like, is there a trick to like getting to engage with these guys, or is it
absolutely. So you have, I call it a perfect storm. I'm happy to explain. There's a perfect storm because there's so many, just like you have a hand, you have different fingers that make up the hand. So I'll just give an example of the typical athlete. You have people that grew up with you that you're either A, trying to avoid, or B, you want to keep around, right? And then you have your family members that A, you're trying to avoid, and B, you're trying to keep around. And then you have business guys. A, you want to avoid, B, you want to bring around. So you have, most of them, they know all these factors, whether it's female, anything. They want to avoid most of them, but they know that they need these things or these people too, like myself, right? And so I learned myself from, you know, I'm an entertainer, and I just think about the things that bother me, right? Or the things that you talk to so many thousands of people. Honestly, like, I've probably communicated with millions of people for sure, easy, only because you just deal with so many people, so many crowds, so much, you know, and so many. So my memory is very, 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 very good, extremely good. So for like a recipe is like this. It's in the approach. For an average, just from a fan, I'll give the fan to our side approach. So the typical fan, their thing is they're only thinking about what they want, right? Which is a picture, autograph. Don't they all? Right?
Don't they all, honestly?
You know, so just if a person think in another person's shoes and don't think just for themselves, then a lot of times they'll get what they want. So for example, maybe this guy or lady, they probably don't mind taking a quick picture with you. But what they don't want is, like, now everybody else sees that one picture. Now they all come running, and then, you know, they're all and you might have to go to the bathroom. You know what I mean? It could be simple things where people think someone's being rude, you know, or they don't really know sometimes, like, some of the extent, the pressure that we have, right? The pressure on us is tremendous at all times of day. Like, even for myself, at all times of day, somebody's expecting me to deliver something, you know, any time of day. So I really don't have like a free minute. So when a person actually gives you their time, it actually mean a lot. And so people don't look at the value of a person's time. So, like, it's all in the approach. I'll give one secret. With all these guys, there's always going to be somebody close by that has to manage all the things they do. You know,
like, everybody has a manager.
Correct. So if they're out in public or whatnot, why don't you talk to their manager first? That's why they're there. So what I do
now,
typically,
is there a trick to talking to the manager?
Yeah, because, you know, these guys, now me at this point, I don't have to talk to no manager. I call guys directly just for that reason. But I'll say this. There's many guys that you still have to work with their manager still, because I'll give you an example. Who's gonna book their flights? Who's gonna really know their schedule?
It's gonna be their manager.
Exactly. You know, this guy, he can say yes, yes, yes. Like, you know, like, you could talk to him about something. He may not even know how to really read, or he doesn't really understand, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, not to, you know, some of these guys are very intelligent, but they don't have the time in their brain space to take in all these new things. So they'll usually
contracts. I wouldn't run a contract by anybody. I'm a trained attorney, or I used to be an attorney, and I don't like contracts.
You know, at the minute people start talking to us or these athletes or not just people who are around, they immediately start going into contract verbiage, because they think right then they have that moment. This is my only moment to meet so-and-so, or this is my only moment. Here, take my CD. Here, take this. I got to tell you all the people this. And so they come with the wrong approach. And so a lot of times with your approach, they see it a mile away. You know, like, I'll give you an example. I'll get a great example probably is Floyd or Pacquiao. You know, Pac-Man actually had more people go crazy, and even Broner. I know guys like Broner, people go nut. I mean, we've had to leave places and they're throwing batteries, rocks. People are running to fight. I mean, it's a crazy world. And so you'll wonder why some of these guys react the way they do. It's because the camera don't show all the other times. You know, it don't show all the other times when people is they use like maybe we're out at a late night event. Some guys, you know, they see that we're there. Maybe we have a bunch of bottles, or you know, they see some ladies around. Oh, that bothers them. You know, so you have all these different elements, right? That factor in. So the question is like this, all this alone. So basically, I broke it down into ABC 1, 2, 3, because someone else asked me. People ask me the same question at times, but this is what I'll say. A, you have an opportunity, right, that you need, but it really starts. I'll say it starts with luck. Luck is A, because it's luck of the draw. You don't know who you're going to meet or who you're going to communicate on any given day, anytime, right?
For sure.
So you have luck of the draw. Then you have that opportunity, right? So the actual opportunity even being there is also another factor. Then what's their situation, right? Are they in a contractor? You know, are they fighting with their lady at the time? Or are they, you know, do they have a bunch of fans in their face, right? All time and a place for everything. You know, then do you have the money to pay these guys? Or a way to, because no matter what you talk to them about, there's a bottom line.
Always.
That they, you know what I'm saying? What's the bottom line, bro?
Money. Oh yeah.
Yeah. So how are you going to finance this great dream that you're talking to them about? And then I think the final thing is your approach, because if your mood is off, or if you're not prepared, or if you're not situated, then what is your approach going to be at that time? So that's why I say it's 5 fingers to the hand. It's luck to the draw. So you have all those things that happen and you meet one person. And then here's what's even crazier. It's a chain reaction. Even in the entertainment world, or in our world, it's a much smaller world than people think. You see?
Oh yeah, I know promoters all across the country. They all seem to know each other.
It's crazy, right? It's like, wait a minute. It's that. So if you mess up with one person, 2 people, 3 people, I mean, especially my name, Egypt, I mean, there's not like a million of us. So you mess up one time, your word is not straight, something you lie, it's just one time. I've been in this game for years. One time you mess up, everybody's going to know about it. Everyone's going to hear about it. That's when you can say they and everyone and all these guys, because the word spreads really fast. Also, to answer the flip side of the coin, because they always say there's 2 sides of a coin, right? When you do well, what else do you think happens?
The word spreads.
Correct. So that's the answer to your question, is word spreads through all these guys, the work that I do, and I just continue to stay humble and keep doing it. Yeah, the magic formula is being, number one, being able to deliver yourself in all these conditions, no matter what, and them spreading and transferring that work. Because see, when it goes through, trust me, like when my events go well, or when the things that I've been organizing with them go well, they're already excited and they're transferring that energy to other people. So for example, I wasn't scared to start at the top, but I also didn't just come right in and try to rush in with all these ideas and whatnot. I took my time, understood what the needs were, because I had that dream. See, that dream is what honestly gave me the balance and the foundation and the principles for how I should move, operate, and execute in all situations. And so because I have that consistency, that's one big thing. That consistency to where they know I'm not going to come to them next week with some new hustle or you know, I got a bunch of Rolex watches now this week, like, come on, guy, you know, stay consistent, right? And then on top of that, deliver on what you say. You know, I have to deliver. That's like the hardest part, and trust me, you have such a thin line. You know, they want to see. Like if I'm communicating, hey, I have this great idea. Where can I see this? Right now, as you are executing and you deliver and you do amazing things, you build trust where they don't have to. They have faith. They know it takes time. These guys have also been in this industry for a while. A lot of them know that anything that's worthwhile, you're not going to just throw together and rush together. You're going to have to organize.
Oh, please say that one again. I know so many entrepreneurs who are like, it has to be done now, it has to be done perfect. And that's just not how it works.
No, you cannot. That's one thing I learned myself, just from, making a couple mistakes. I'm not afraid to say we've not made mistakes, but, the mistakes were still, they profited, but they were still somewhat costly in rushing. And once I learned, hey, do not rush, build it, make sure it's executed, organize it well, make sure you have a structured team that can execute and not just have, talkers and time sponges, that are, drawing energy away from your production. These are some of the things I learned. And so when I dialogue with these guys, we actually are, even if I were to talk, sometimes our conversations are like an hour and a half, 2 hours. We're like, oh my God. But guess what? We'll look back and know everything that we're talking about. The next week they're done. That week they're done. They see other people are communicating, so they know I can't be BSing because the legend over here is communicating, but he's seeing results. This one over here is seeing results. That one over there is seeing results, and they're saying, look, it's not always just making revenue. That's another thing too. Yes, it has to be towards that, but there's times when these guys are in situations I fix, situate, and solve problems for them that were outside of my scope. But you also can't go so far into the personal that you don't get the business done. Right. So I just keep a good balance, and I think that right there. I want to make sure I answer all your questions in case you have some others though too.
Oh, and this is absolutely fascinating. Like I'm just soaking it up. So don't assume my silence means I'm not paying attention. Like I'm like,
oh yeah,
so cool. I do have to ask, because like part of my purpose on this show is trying to show others the way, right? So if somebody's listening to this and they're like, I want to be the next Egypt, I want them to like have a clear path on how to get there. So like, what makes you special? What makes you unique? Do you have like unique skills, or are you just kind of practiced over and over again?
Well, I do have, I was a musician, coming up, I love music, and I just learned everything that I saw. Like, for example, I never wanted to see someone else just play the drums and just watch them play. I never wanted to see someone else play a video game. I'm like, wow, they're so amazing. I never wanted to just watch someone else box or compete in martial arts and say, wow, they're just so cool. I can't ever do that. Something in me just knew, put in the time, so I was a huge reader. I think if people need to go back to reading, I read excessively. Like I'm an excessive reader to where I scan over thousands of words a minute at this point. But I started off reading entire encyclopedias, almanacs, anything, science, anything I could get my hands on, technology. Like you have to really expand outside of like, okay, I'm smart because I'm studying algebraic data calculations over. You have to go beyond the typical structure of a classroom and get beyond just what somebody's telling you. I know that a lot of people, when they give information, they don't typically solidify it with who's your source. Who's the source of this information? Oh, is your source a Facebook post? That's not intelligent information for me.
Oh, no. That's the difference between facts and opinions right there.
Correct. So I always dig deeper because, to be honest, in the world of sports and entertainment and business and technology and just being an entrepreneur, a lot of these investors want to know what's solid. They don't want to hear what you maybe know or what you think. They never want to hear those words. They want to either you don't know or you know. Either you have it or you don't have it. And I'm willing to be honest, and I think that honesty too is what opens a door where people smile and they go, That's why I'm talking to you, because this is what I do. I saw that you had this need, but I wanted to help you. Or, you could do the opposite and turn them off and make them want to go away from you and look like a liar or a deceiver, or you're just weird because you couldn't just be honest.
I love it. No, thank you so much for that advice. Like everybody I've referred to an investor or a funder, that's the issue. Is that we think it'll do this. Well, think that way.
Yeah. Yeah, you can't think because their money's actually going in. So they actually want to know what's going on.
Beautiful. Okay. How long have you been doing this? This is incredible.
I would say for the last 3-4 years, I've been on this path of 100 entertainment. It's taken that long to get there, but my path, I've gone through a lot of ups and downs. I mean, I want to make sure people know, like, I went through a lot of issues coming up, from a kid and even teenage, and even as an adult. In California, Northern California, I was actually shot in both legs randomly. So I walk with no limp. I recovered myself in a swimming pool and did my own rehab.
Wow,
and so the mental fortitude is like one of the main things that I developed through. Anytime I've had incredible hardships or seen them around me, and I never like let it register. It's like for example, when and I don't want to get too much in the story, but just getting touched by a bullet, the first one hit, I said, oh yeah, obviously it's time to go. And so I didn't feel the second one, but I sure, I'm feeling the bleeding. I'm both femoral arteries, blood is pouring out, and I ran 400 yards, and that kind of mental fortitude. That's the first part, is just surviving. Now you have to stay calm and stay alive. Stop your own bleeding, this and that. And then after, now you have to recover mentally, physically, and spiritually, because that's the big thing. And so, it's hard to trust people. You go through a lot of cycles. So that's one of many things that people don't realize what can make up, like, let's say, an onion. The onion have many layers. So certain people that are successful that I've studied, a lot of them have many layers of things that affected them. Maybe, they had a crazy childhood, or they had, something that, happened to them that was major, or, maybe they found a religion, or, something dramatic usually happened, and so many layers. And so what it is it's responsibility. It's not ego. It's not what people maybe want. Maybe they want people to glorify them or praise them, but you have to be able to accept all the bad, all the difficult things about yourself. Accept your weaknesses, and then say, okay, what's my solution? How do I get up? How do I move forward? Maybe people around me is not helping, or people around me is being negative. Okay, well, you got to keep going. So when it comes to like any kind of solution in business, I'm probably more prepared for any Harvard, even though, I went to school, and I applied myself. But at the same time, there are certain things that a Harvard class can teach you, and certain experiences and supernatural things can teach you a lot more. And then two, it's about making sure you're serving. I believe that the greatest leaders, the greatest people, are people who serve, not people who just try to soak up and take up energies from other people and then lift themselves up with that energy. I mean, that's what takes the purpose. Like, let's say I don't like to say you, but you seem, just even from communicating with you, you have ability to read and react and see what needs people have and be able to fill in the gap. And so imagine a person that had that gift. Maybe they don't ask for all these amazing things, or maybe they don't ask for all this, but you should still look to give that person as much as you can, because that right there will impact them, make them more motivated, make them more excited to help you. Because I look at it this way. There's so many things that a person can do with their time. Period. They don't owe me nothing. I don't go, oh, this is my friend, I've known him for years, or I've done this for you. you owe me this. Now, there's people that owe me. Yes, they do. Big time. But guess what? Who cares? Because at the end of the day, they're not going to wake up that morning and go, "Oh man, I owe this guy. Let me wake up and get my pour this cup of coffee. You know, let me go to this gas station today because I owe this guy." No, that's not what drives people or motivates them to get anything done. So I've just tried to learn as much as I can, is like, how do I be a better leader to help people reach their goals? Because if we align and we can synergize, that's much better than trying to make a person do something or try to force a person into what I want them to do, or trying to manipulate or lead them like into something. You don't have to do that. You know, you can just be honest with people, and you can actually just help them reach their goals. I think that part, like, that's what I want to be known for, is for helping people like accomplish things, and then us as a team. So, like, I'm not concerned even now, like a lot of the initiatives, I'll be honest, does the world that we're in think that we're going to get a boxing game? Of course they don't. Because people went about it the same way everyone else did. And then they stopped it, and then they laughed, and then they keep killing it. But me, I say, you know, it don't matter what they did. It don't matter what they said. There's a process and there's an order that gets things done. And so I've been looking and only, you know, allowing myself to align even spiritually with people who have the mind, soul, and spirit of production, results. You know what I'm saying? A lack of all these negative things. Go ahead.
Hey, Egypt, like, this is incredible. And you were just talking about all of your experience and how you want to pass this on. If you had, like, you know, 30 seconds to pass on just one thing that every entrepreneur needed to know, what would you say?
Stay consistent. And don't listen to a they. Don't listen to the criticism. Listen hard. Listen extra hard to the criticisms of the people who've been successful in your area. Or listen extra hard. You know, reach out to people who've been successful or have been in that space, and reach out with a neutral mind. I wouldn't even tell people or communicate with everyone who you're working with or who you're you know, in contact with sometimes. I mean, sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. And so just being mindful of what goes out from you represents you. Knowing what has your name on it, don't try to put anyone else behind that. It's you. So whatever goes out that has your name, whatever you say, that's your brand. Whatever you're promoting, that's you too. You can't be halfway in, 1 foot in, 1 foot out. You got to be both feet in, or just don't cross the river. So I think if there's one thing, stay consistent.
Beautiful. Oh, that's such fantastic advice. Now, you did mention at the beginning, you got to respect the people you're talking to's time. So I want to make sure I'm respecting your time here. We've been
I know.
So how do people find you, Egypt? Where are you out on social media? How do people reach out to you? Because obviously we did not cover nearly everything here. Like, we could have gone like 3-4 hours, I'm sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm happy to jump on another podcast, and you know, we can do NBA, we can do NFL talk, or, you know, we're pretty tied in anywhere. But, you know, we definitely want to give some updates to the game and some of our presentations in the future. That you can find us and find our company on @100 Deep Media. So you'll see 100 ENT. I don't know if they can see that, but 100 Deep Media, and then actually this is my Egypt one. I'm sorry. Egypt X. So @official Egypt producer. So official Egypt, EGYPT producer, one word, on Instagram.
Fantastic. All right. This has been one of the most incredible interviews I've ever had to have. Thank you so much. I genuinely do appreciate this. Do you have any last thoughts or anything I didn't ask you think we need to cover?
No, I just want to say thank you for having me on, and thank you so much for your time and for your commitment to helping gamerpreneurs like myself go forward. And you know, whatever we can do to support you, you know, let us know, let me know. I'm happy to help.
Absolutely. All right, Egypt Brown, thank you so much for coming on today. This was incredible.
Absolutely. I would say very much so. Thank you again for your time.
Absolutely. And for everybody else, I'm going to remind you all, don't be just a gamer, be a gamerpreneur.
Absolutely.